LTI Mindtree rallies as Kotak upgrades the stock to an ad with a price target of 6,200 rupees a share. The Karnataka High Court has also stayed a 378 crore rupee GST demand order on the company.
Tata Elxsi slips after the massive rally that we saw yesterday. Brokerage house Kotak issues a sell call with the target price of 5,500 rupees a share. They are concerned on the valuation parameter.
Hospital chain KIMS slips after a big block deal that sees 2% equity change hands at nearly 2,500 rupees a share. GMM Pfaudler also rallies over 10% after 9.2% equity change hands at 1,350 rupees a share.
NBCC rallies over 6% after it announces its board will mull a bonus issue on the 31st of August.
And it's a strong debut on Dalal Street for Orient Technologies. The stock lists at a 39% premium to its issue price of 206 rupees a share and builds on to those gains thereafter.
Hello and welcome to Chartbusters. I'm Nigel D'Souza. Joining me today is Hormuz Fatakia. Well, it's that time of the markets where, in fact, we hope that we reach those all-time highs, but for the time being, a bit of wait and watch, just a few points away. My gut is, though, by the end of today, maybe we get to that level of around 25,078 odd. But Hormuz, interesting times. Tech is holding one end up. NVIDIA's numbers data today. So let's see how it goes.
It's a big, big day. This is NVIDIA being the street darling, the move that the stock has seen. All eyes on NVIDIA after the bell tonight, so early hours of Thursday morning. And yes, IT is the one that is holding on to the gains in today's session. What is not doing so well, though, is realty, metals, all of these rate sensitives that had seen moves earlier in the week. They are the ones that are being a bit of an underperformer in today's trading session. But of course, it's the Nifty Bank expiry in today's session, so we'll keep an eye out for that as well. And as Nigel just mentioned, towards the close of trade, maybe we might see that move towards 25.78. But the one pocket that is not quiet, though, is the primary markets. And we have another IPO that's opening today. Well,
that's right. Ecos India Mobility and Hospitality. Well, they are coming out with an IPO of around 600 crores. The issue opens today. It ends on Friday. To talk more about the IPO plans, the future plans, we have with us Mr. Rajesh Lomba, who's the chairman and MD, and Aditya Lomba, the joint MD of the company. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the show and welcome to the stock markets. The issue opens today. In a couple of weeks, we'll have you listed. But let's understand a couple of aspects in about business. Tell us about the total TAM, the total TAM that you all are focusing on for the industry that you all are functioning in. And as of now, I believe there is a part that is organized and unorganized. Break it up for us. And how do you see this evolving? Industry dynamics first.
Thanks for having us here. If you would look at the total target audience that is there for this this kind of business,
yes.
If you look at the industry report that's been published, it places it around 80 to 90,000 crores is the total addressable market which can be there for this business.
Okay.
If we were to look at, and this typically it's been a very fragmented business. It's only lately that it started to organize over the last 8-10 years. And so currently, if you look at between chauffeured car rental services and employee transportation services, we would look at around 20% of the market would be organized. The rest would be unorganized.
And a couple of years ago, how much was it? Was it less than 10%, 10, 15% that's moved to 20%?
Yes, I guess pre-COVID, it was lesser. It may have been around 10%.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now, as per the industry report, it should be around 20%.
Interesting. I was just reading about your business, and there's this increased focus on premium vehicles due to the customer preference that has increased for this. Would you share a number as to how much of your total fleet is premium vehicles, and would you plan to scale that up as the year goes by as well?
So over the last 2 years, if you would see between FY22 and FY24, our share of the premium and luxury as a percentage of total bookings of our chauffeured car rental services would have gone up from approximately 30% to approximately 40% over the last 2 years. So what we're seeing is a market trend wherein where people are not hesitating to spend a few hundred rupees more to get a better quality of service, better ambience, clean car, a trained chauffeur, safety aspect very important. So this is what we are seeing in the chauffeured car rental business.
What's the current fleet that you guys have currently?
Currently, we have over 12,000 cars on our platform.
And how much of that is premium?
If you were to look at premium cars, so premium, I would want to break it up. So if you look at premium premium is more in the chauffeured car rental business, right? Employee transportation business is mostly economy, you know. So if you look at in the premium part of the business as such, if you would look at, I would say around 25 to 30% would be the premium fleet.
Okay, 25% of CCR.
Yeah.
All right. You also said 12,000 is total fleet size. How much of it is owned? How much of it is taken from vendors?
So maybe you could just explain about the the business as such. That in our in eco mobility we have two flavors of the business.
Yeah.
One is the chauffeured car rental business, and one is the employee transport services business,
Which has been going up as a percentage of the contribution.
Yes. And employee transport businesses typically, we are doing that in about 10 cities where, maximum call centers, global capability centers, KPOs, BPOs, they are the ones who are having their presence with large campuses. Their sites are operating over there. And they basically provide home office, home commute to their employees over there.
Got it.
And the chauffeured car rental business, we are right now offering in 109 cities across India. And this is typically corporate users who are, going for meetings, or they're going to attend a conference, or they're going for office visits, etc. And they are basically using it for airport transfers or intra-city travel, or maybe going intercity road transport. So basically, that business is mostly catered to the chauffeured market, corporate market, as well as we also have event transportation for conferences, delegations, etc. And then we also have travel agents and leisure customers who use chauffeured car rental business.
Okay, so ETS was around 30%, mid-30s, which has gone to 50%, right?
ETS as of last year would have been around 60%.
60%. And how do you see this mix evolving now between ETS and CCR?
If you look at last more than 25 years, it's been cyclical. Some years ETS tends to go up, some years CCR. Our focus as an organization has been equally on both.
Okay.
That's there.
Got it. Just one more point I want to ask you. You have the fleet size is 12,000, right?
Yeah.
Is what you said.
Yeah.
How many of them are owned?
750 cars are owned. More than 12,000 are there.
Asset light.
Yeah. So it's an asset light model, and it was earlier it was more out of the need because we've had more demand than we had capital to put in. So this is a solution we came up some 15 years back, but the model has very well settled down now, and we think this is owning between 5 to 10% cars is the sweet spot that we should be continuing.
So you would like to stick to that 5 to 10% number when it comes to
That's what we have had
owning
last so many years. It's always ranged between 5 to 10%.
Your revenue mix, most of it comes from your core markets being Bengaluru and the
Yes.
Delhi NCR.
Yes.
Is there a plan to scale up in other cities as well, say the tier 2, tier 3 towns? And what kind of growth are you anticipating from there, if at all you do plan on scaling up there?
See that the tier 1 and the other larger cities are actually the core demand, where the core demand gets generated. That's where all the business, the economy is there. So we would see that, we feel that these tier 1 cities would continue to generate the majority of the demand.
Okay, all right. Final question before we let you go. On listening, we'll try to push you a little bit more for numbers. But I'm looking at your profitability. It's been improving by a couple of basis points. Currently, it's in the mid-teens vicinity. Is there a tailwind that still exists that you can push the margins up? A few years ago, you were doing 12%, which has moved to 16% odd. Is there enough headroom to move up even from here? Not asking for a number, so regulators are okay, as well as your bankers. But what do you think?
No, so we have, there are various aspects of the business, and we feel we have a lot of headroom to grow in terms of how we've been growing as part of our growth strategies, to go deeper and mine our present customers who are majorly, over 42 Fortune 500 companies, over 60 BSE 500 companies. So we feel there's plenty of headroom within them to grow, and the growth within the same companies happens at a zero cost of sales and marketing and customer acquisition. You understand?
Indeed.
Right.
So there is basically a tailwind, and there is a possibility that margins could improve as well from here on, despite the improvement that we've seen.
So
directionally, it's northward.
What we are seeing in the last 2 or 3 years, yes, we have been seeing a growth in the margins also, but we want to make sure we leave enough on the plate for our vendor partners also, and not push too much towards that extent, while at the same time the way we run our business in a very optimized, efficient, and keeping control on our costs, we expect to keep doing the same.
As you're keeping your vendors in mind, I'm just keeping the shareholders in mind as well, because sometimes, when a company comes to list, suddenly there's a bit of a spurt in margins. We just want to understand that sustainability is there, which you've answered that point as well.
All right, gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Thanks a lot for joining in, sharing with us your business. Good luck for the IPO as well. We hope to speak to you again on listing day as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot.
Just want to alert our viewers that most of this is the OFS, so no money comes back into the company. Most of it will be taken by the selling entities as well. Those are the broad details that are up for you on the screen. Well, time to slip in a short break. Come back, continue to focus on markets as well as on stock-specific action. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. As we speak, the markets have crept up a little bit from the lows of the day. In the initial 30 minutes or so, the markets were down close to around 40 points. Everyone's wondering whether or not it's going to be a bit of a sketchy situation. But for the time being, there is a recovery. The Nifty bank hasn't got past that 51,300 mark, but it still hasn't broken the 51,000 mark as odd. So I will view things positively. I'm a little bit optimistic about today's session. Let's get in Soni Patnaik from JM Financial, who joins us on the show. Hi, Soni. Good morning. Hope you had a good first hour of trade. Tell us, how are you approaching the Nifty bank from here on? And then we'll get to your picks.
And good morning, Nigel, Hormaz. Thank you for having me on the show. I think, Nigel, I would agree with you. Even I'm a bit optimistic. Nifty has been holding quite strongly around that 25,000 levels. It's forming a good base, we can see. So there's a possibility that Nifty can test 25,100 to 25,150. Anyway, between today and tomorrow, these levels can get tested. It is holding a very strong support of 24,950. So anybody would have gotten at lower levels can trail these stop loss at 24,950. And continue to hold Nifty for higher targets of 25,100, 150. There's a decent rollovers in Nifty. It is mostly on the longer side. The only thing that is dragging today is the overall sentiment in Bank Nifty. As we can see, it is not able to cross the 51,500 pass. That's very crucial for Bank Nifty. It is underperforming. So maybe that is a reason why a bit of a consolidation can be seen. Not much to expect from Bank Nifty at this level. I think it's wiser to place your bets for Nifty and just hold longs for Nifty and avoid Bank Nifty for the day.
So you see no strength in the Nifty bank to take it past that 51,500 mark, as has been the case over the last few trading sessions, Soni. But what are your stock-specific recommendations as well this morning?
So, Amas, the first pick would be in IEX, which has seen a very strong breakout today on chart. It's a fresh breakout and also an option chain breakout above 200 level. So I think IEX is looking quite positive to buy at current levels, anywhere in the range of 204 to 203, and these keeping a stop loss of 198. The stock can see higher targets of 210 to 112. So those can be the targets. The second pick is from the auto space, Maruti, which has seen a good, decent close above its 20 and 50 EMA yesterday. Even as of today, it is holding above those levels. Also, it has seen a 62% long rollovers from August to September series. So Maruti in September futures, one can buy at current levels around 12,450 to 12,500 in futures. Keep a stop loss of 12,300 and a target of 12,900 to 13,000 for the September expiry can be seen.
September futures is what Soni is recommending on Maruti. But Soni, I wanted to ask you about all of these Tata Group companies that have been on a tear over the last few sessions. Not so today when it comes to Tata Elxsi, but be it Tata Tech, Tata Investment, Tata Elxsi that have seen this surge. What are the charts suggesting there? Which among the three looks most attractive to you, or is there any other from the Tata Group that looks attractive to you?
I think Tata Tech and Tata Motors are the two stocks which can be looked at from the entire space. One would be from the IT space, which is clearly seen a good momentum now. Also, Tata Tech on charts, on daily charts, it is holding above 200 EMA. So I think that's a positionally well support. One can continue to hold. We've seen yesterday good breakout, good volumes. And, it can test higher levels of 1140 to 1160 as on chart. So I think continue to hold Tata Tech, keeping a stop loss of 1,080 from current levels. Tata Motors would be a good buy on dips from current levels. Around 1,060 would be the level one can initiate a buy in Tata Motors. It is just approaching a 20 EMA, keeping a stop loss of 1,040. Buy on dips around 1,060. The stock can test 1,100 again.
Okay, all right. Soni, appreciate you joining in and giving us your call on the index, as well as a whole host of stocks as well that we just discussed. By the way, keep an eye out on a few stocks on the broader markets. Intellect Design, just pull up the intraday chart out there. That one is bursting at its seams. So big up move is what we're seeing out there. I think mid-cap tech, it's got something going for it. Coforge should come up for you on the screen. Birlasoft should come up for you on the screen. Big up move is what we're seeing on both those two. And even Persistent Systems now is spiking up. At some point of time, some of those stocks will come up for you on the screen. And Interglobe Aviation, everyone was talking about valuations being a little bit more expensive. Monopoly, almost a near monopoly in the market, more than 60% of its market share, which is just growing. Now it's nearly a 5,000 rupees stock. For the time being, we'll slip into a short break, come back, continue to focus on markets and stock-specific action. Don't go anywhere.
Back with us here on Chartbusters. Plenty of action going around in the broader markets. I'd like to pull up CDSL. That stock is down for the third day running now, and ICICI Securities at yesterday had downgraded the stock, and now it's down to the lowest point of the day, 1500 now on CDSL, down for the third straight session. But midcap IT is the one that Nigel was just highlighting a few minutes ago, and those companies continue to be on a tear. LTI, Mindtree and Tata Elxsi are the two that we would like to talk about right now, and those are moving on the back of reports from brokerage house Kotak. Now, LTI Mindtree has been upgraded by Kotak, while Tata Elxsi is under pressure following its sell recommendation on the stock. Rima is here with more details. Rima, tell us what the reports say.
So let me start with LTI Mindtree. Well, there is the news of GST, but what's fueling the up move in the stock today is the Kotak upgrade on LTI Mindtree to an add versus an earlier reduce. Their target price stands at 6,200, and the key expectation is that growth rate will recover. Now, in FY24, growth rate for the company will trough at 4.4%. It will expand to 6.5% this year and further accelerate to 11% by FY26. Now, this pickup in growth will be led by BFSI and high-tech. These two verticals were impacted the most in the last 18 months, and BFSI is already showing signs of recovery, particularly in the United States. The second overhang on the stock was also the many exits that took place post the merger of LTI and Mindtree. And here Kotak says that leadership departures have cooled off in the last 3 to 4 months versus the flurry of exits that we had in March and April. That said, don't expect any margin expansion. So the scope for margin expansion is fairly limited. But according to Kotak, LTI Mindtree is going to be a good compounding play with strong and consistent EPS growth, and they've raised the target multiple. But on Tata Elxsi, the stock which rallied close to 26% over the last 2 days, Kotak is very bearish. They say the stock was expensive even before the rally began. They've got a sell rating on this stock, and their target price is all the way down to 5,500. Valuations are stretched at 61 times forward multiple. Valuations price in a 20% annual return in the growth rate for the next 10 years. And they're saying that while the company's automotive growth, led by, say, JLR, etc., is going to be strong, the company is facing growth challenges, whether it's in media and communication or even in healthcare. So bullish on LTI, Mindtree, Kotak, but Kotak Institutional Equities continues to remain very bearish on Tata Elxsi. Back to you.
Got it, Rima. That's clearly weighing on the stock, down 5% as we speak. But let's get you some market opinion there. And in a very interesting chat we had with Nilesh Shah of Kotak AMC yesterday, we discussed the SME IPO and the unrealistic valuations, besides other things. Let's listen in to some excerpts of that conversation.
So there will be enough reasons available for correction. But we believe, based on our fundamentals, liquidity and sentiment, corrections are unlikely to be deeper like we saw during COVID time. They are more likely to be what we saw during October 21 to June 22 period, a minor correction, combination of time and price correction. Undoubtedly, we have seen power of money in the early 90s, mid 2000s. But we have also seen that once money power goes, fundamentals prevail. My recommendation to investors, traders, SME Exchange is the best performing indices of the world. But I don't think so they have the best performing fundamentals to justify current prices or valuation. There's momentum going on. There will be few companies who will be good. but majority at this valuation are unlikely to meet investors' expectation. Consumer stock valuations are high, undoubtedly, but they are relatively lower compared to their historical average, and their ROEs are likely to be better. So we are exactly doing what I've said, moving from momentum to quality, moving from low floating stock counters to high floating stock counters, and moving from expensive valuation to reasonable valuation.
Nilesh Shah there on the markets and the frenzy that we are seeing in the SME market, of course. I'll pull up a couple of other names as well. NBCC is the one. The board is going to consider a bonus issue on the 31st. The stock is at the high point of the day, 6% higher for NBCC. And Tata Investment, that among the Tata Group stocks continues to surge higher. Even in today's session is the second best performer on the Nifty Small Cap Index, 5.5% higher there for Tata Investment. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Chartbusters. From Nigel, me and the team that put this show together, thank you so much for watching. Trading Hour takes the action forward.